in the Pursuit of Truth. Dowley, Chapter 6a, Episode 9. A Rectification Movement among High School Students. The tree craves calm, but the wind will not subside. Chinese proverb. When the country has just barely recovered from the Big Leap Forward and the famine, another political campaign, socialist education, began to unfold in 1963. Unbeknownst to most at the time, it was a prelude to the Cultural Revolution. Xu Hun, a poet of Tang Dynasty, wrote the popular verse, "The wind sweeping through the tower heralds a rising storm in the mountains." This time, the political gust found its target at the high school where DR was a senior. In the Spring Festival of 1965, when the school was supposed to have shut down for the holidays, the campus was still hustling. The gate was open and the lights were on in the teaching building. It was not for the celebration of the Chinese New Year, but for the venue of political experimentation targeting the students in DR's class. From the beginning, everything was choreographed. There were preparative meetings, but DR was not invited, although he was one of the members of the student committee of his class. Before the plenary session started, the core followers of the party instructor circled around her and talked in very low voices. DR had an eerie feeling that something unpleasant would soon happen. He was disgusted but helpless at the thought that he had to take such crap again at this very time of festivity. The curtain of the political drama opened, and the holiday's special session began. The party instructor signaled her confidant, a student and youth league cadre, to start. And then she sat down at the last row with a somber face. This time, there was no warm-up overture. They cut right to the chase. If you do not admit the phenomena of class struggle, just look around us. There are people in our class who stick to the old bourgeois and feudalistic ideologies. Many people admire those who are good in science and math, good in English and Chinese, but not those who love the party. He pushed up his eyeglasses that just slipped down the bridge of his nose to its tip. Those who study hard but do not know for whom they study are not our models to follow. Some people in our class just have the erroneous idea that scholars are superior to other walks of life. They want to get to the college and dominate the area of culture and science. The class struggle exists among us. It manifests in different forms. The typical bourgeois ideology here is reflected in a popular motto. It is cool to be politically neutral, academically strong, and to enjoy a comfortable life. He raised his voice and spoke in a higher pitch. We must thoroughly repudiate such erroneous ideology. That's the purpose of this special meeting. Who said that class struggle only exists in the society? In our school and right here, in our class, here is someone who dared to demean our political instructor as only an actress from the army's art troupe. he suddenly gave a vicious stare at a female classmate sitting at the front row. "Tell us what you mean by that." "Are you asking me?" The girl was intimidated and could barely face her accuser. "Yes, you are exactly the person I'm talking to." He waved his right hand and yelled. "That was not what I said, and what I meant." The female classmate burst into tears. After displaying his authority in the first encounter, he went on listing other charges. He accused her of bragging about her cozy lifestyle and trying to corrupt classmates from working-class families by offering them milk from refrigerator when they visited her home in a hot summer day. Then the prosecutor pushed up his glasses again and moved his side to another student. Unfortunately, he softened his voice a little. "There is someone in the organization of the Youth League who deviated from the correct political standpoint and wallowed in the mire of evil bourgeois ideology." "Why?" "That person has forgotten about class struggle and believes that people can be politically neutral." He raised his voice again. "Cast away illusions, classmates. In this life and death struggle, either you defeat the influence of the bourgeoisie or you will become one of them. There is no political neutrality." Some suspense was still hanging in the air, and the prosecutor did not mention his name, but DR could guess who that person was. DR found it insufferable, sitting there witnessing this farce, such ruinous insult and all-out assault on his fellow teenage classmates. Who gave him the right to do so? It was all justified in the name of waging class struggle. Now it began to dawn on DR that if these two classmates fit the profile of disinterest in politics and enjoyment of a comfortable life, who would represent the third category, being academically strong? The hatchet man cleared his throat and went on. "What I just mentioned was only the tip of the iceberg. Here is someone in this class who is so arrogant that he even dared to comment on the merits of our great leader Chairman Mao. He claimed that there is not much to Chairman Mao's works except the two philosophical articles on practice and on contradiction." DR was stunned and was keenly aware whom it was referring to. He took a deep breath. At the center of this new class struggle are the bourgeoisie and their intellectuals stubbornly clinging to the only advantage they have over the proletariat, their knowledge. Their goal is to gain good marks at school and to attend college in the future, so that they can keep their dominance over the proletariat. Being strong academically, he concluded, is the asset to bargain with the party and the people. You know who is such an example in our class? The keynote speaker went on, but ended without mentioning DR's name. Small group criticism meetings were scheduled for the next day. DR knew that the attack would continue and become even more personal. His parents were out of town, and he was alone in that high-rise apartment, pondering what to do in the darkness of the night. He turned to the record player and picked the Fifth Symphony of Beethoven. His mind was not really into the music, but the masterpiece named Fate seemed to be appropriate for the moment. DR had few choices. To remain silent was not an option. The Fifth Amendment did not exist here, but it would be considered as defiance and even confrontation. Performing groundless, self-incriminating acts was against his own basic principles. The only sensible choice was not to evade any accusations, but to meet it head-on with a careful rebuttal, as if it were a case of normal academic debate, and to let the chips fall wherever they might. His adrenaline began to pump, and he was imbued with inexplainable excitement. He kept telling himself to calm down, but he could not sleep much the rest of the night. The next morning, as DR arrived at school, several small desks were already put together in the classroom to make a big table, and a few benches were laid around. Each group occupied its own classroom. A few classmates from other groups were brought in to sit around the same table with DR. They barely made eye contact with him, although they used to chat frequently. Obviously, they were here to be the witnesses. DR was pretty realistic about this. He understood full well those invited had to say something and to make some critiques, even if it meant acting. Otherwise, they would get into big trouble themselves. He was also curious what kind of remarks he would hear. Quite obviously, it was all rehearsed. Each and every speaker would start from some soul-searching and self-criticism, then would go on to condemn the bourgeois influence, and then to identify the actual source of influence, the bad guy, because of whom they also become so focused on academic studies and so lost in the political orientation. And now they repented. It looked that the innocence of friendship and trust among 18-year-old classmates had evaporated. At the same time, for most of them, he sensed the reluctance in their tones. The accusations were quite vague and unspecific. How did the rectification meeting proceed? What was its impact on DR's future? What happened after the graduation? Stay tuned for the next episode for the continuation of Chapter 6.